One outstanding feature of the outback are the skies. Seemingly endless horizons and beautiful cloud formations. Reason to celebrate. Celebrate with the Festival of the Outback Skies. We're in Flinders Shire, midway between Mount Isa and Townsville, experiencing a brand new festival featuring bull rides, raft races and lantern parades. We'll also experience Flinders Shire's other big attractions, a mini Grand Canyon, the Porcupine Gorge, and dinosaur fossils from the giant Muttaburrasaurus. Plus, life on an outback cattle station, an enormous energy operation, and characters with tremendous stories to tell. All ahead and more in this episode of Travel Oz. G'day, welcome. I'm Greg Granger. We're starting our adventure here in Flinders Shire with a bull ride, all part of the Festival of Outback Skies. It's the festival's opening event. Big crowd, some 2,000 people backing the stands. Big bulls, they're mighty angry. No way they want someone on their back. And they're off bucking and twisting and turning. Those riders have got to hang on for 8 seconds to qualify. Deputy Mayor Clancy Middleton played a big role in making this all happen.
Bull ride with different divisions. You've got your juniors, you've got your second divvy, which are the people learning, and your open bull ride, which is a feature event. And we've got some of the best riders in Australia tonight.
Some of the riders are in their teens, but they're amongst the winners here tonight. The great ride. What are you feeling when you're doing that ride?
Oh, just everything's going black. Everything goes black and it's all just muscle memory.
And it happens so quickly.
Oh yeah, it's over like that. Then again, it's all in slow motion, so it's kind of a bit of both. So you can, the more experienced you are, I think the more slow motion it gets and you can just see what the bull's about to do. That's all bull riding is, reading the bull and reacting, hopefully in the same time he's done his moves.
And what about Noah Dingle, 14 years old, and he's awarded the Blue Sash. What's the aim? What do you really want to achieve in all your riding?
Oh, just trying to win as much as I can, of course, really go, refine my ride and get it looking good, and yeah, just trying to get into finals this year.
Spare a thought too for those guys with the title of Rodeo Clowns. Russ Stone is one such gent, and what risks he places his body in. How many hits did you have tonight?
A couple, probably 3.
Yeah. We see you being treated by the ambulance people.
Yeah, got a bit of a split on my chin. Gotta get some stitches tomorrow.
For the next 3 hours, the bull riding goes on. Bucking bulls, thrill-seeking riders. It's all an entree to a long weekend of events here in Hughenden. We'll feature all of that later in this episode. But first, let's check out what else there is to see here in Flinders Shire. The heart of Flinders Shire is the town of Hughenden. Showing me around today is long-time Hughenden personality, Mim Crace. Well, Mim, Hughenden, a windy town.
Absolutely. You notice all the windmills around the place.
And the big wind farm.
And the wind farm, yes. We're hoping that we can do a lot with that.
So, a lot of character in this town.
Absolutely. We've got everything that you could possibly need. Maybe not everything you want, but everything you need to live comfortably here. It's a great place to live, relaxed. You can always get a park. It's a really, really terrific place. I came for 9 weeks in 2003, never left. Love the place.
There's wind to contend with.
We had a big blow and it tossed all of the trampolines in town from one place to the next.
Fossils to Fossick for.
At the Flinders Fossick site behind the showgrounds, set up to make it easy for tourists to find fossils because they all want to take some home. So these are belemnites, fossilised squid. You can tell they're belemnites because it's got this groove down the middle where the notochord would have gone. It's got a curved edge.
Sculptures to admire. Huge amount of work gone into this sculpture.
Isn't it fantastic? All the bits and pieces. Clean up your whole yard, make a fantastic sculpture of a pterosaur.
Giant sculptures to inspect. Now, this model of the rainbow serpent was created by artist Glenn Starr in collaboration with local Aboriginal elders and has been made over 8 months using heavy gauge 2-inch thick steel. Inside are 31 solid steel animal characters that the rainbow serpent ate, then spat out to create rivers. Also here in Hughenden, there's a chance to discover their Discovery Centre. I'm being shown around today by the Mayor, Jane McNamara. The wool part of your museum, wool was such a big part of Flinders Shire.
Oh, definitely, yes. It was the major industry, and that's the reason why we've actually were here to begin with, because there was a rush actually between two cousins. I love the sheep, and they're a challenge sometimes, but they are a wonderful animal and the ultimate renewable product, because we shear a sheep, goes back out in the paddock, produces another fleece.
Star attraction here in the Discovery Centre is this replica of the Muttaburrasaurus.
That's correct, yes. The Muttaburrasaurus is called the Muttaburrasaurus because the very first bones were actually found near Muttaburra by Doug Langdon. But fortunately for us, this skeleton that we see here replicated is actually found at Dunluce, which is one of the properties that's to the west of Hughenden, by a schoolboy. So aren't we fortunate that the most complete skeleton of Muttaburrasaurus was actually found, and that's why we have him here. And now, of course, he's the Queensland fossil emblem, so we're very, very proud to have Muttaburrasaurus here.
On the outskirts of Hughenden, I drive out to the family homestead of local pioneer Cecily Paul. Now, Cecily may be 85 years old, but she's still full of fire and energy. Cecily, I see music is a great passion of yours. You even run a country music festival.
I'm the festival organiser. Yes, I am really. Yeah, there are quite a lot of us on the committee, but they all do things for me, love. They all help.
And so you run this on a shoestring.
Absolutely.
You have all these musicians come in from all over Australia. They even sleep all over your house.
They do. I played piano because all my family all played piano. And when the big marriage was coming up, my mother said to me, "Where are you going to live?" I think it's at a place called Banana. I've never heard of it. But I said, well, she said, "You got a nice house there?" I said, "There's a shed. I don't know anything about a house." "Well, you can't take your piano down there." And I said, "I didn't think it'd be possible. Go and get yourself a piano accordion." And I said, "I'll never learn to play one of those things." And she said, "Bring it home here." She said, "You know piano. You do the piano, I'll do the bass, and we'll work this thing out."
So you met your husband, but he did have certain demands.
He said, I'm a brazier, I'm trying to be one. He said, "I'm getting started, I'm getting established." He said, "I'm not wealthy." And he said, "Somebody that really by my side who could drive a truck and certainly ride a grader." And he said, "and probably keep my bed warm."
But you had conditions.
Yes. And I said, "Well, you'll have to hear me out now, Harold." And I said, "My conditions." I said, "They're really simple, actually." I said, "I agree to all that other bit of fun, that stuff." I said, "I don't mind working. I can work hard. I've done a lot of bush work." But, and I said, "But no kids for 12 months. I said, "In 12 months, I said, don't forget I'd hardly know you. In 12 months' time, I might not like you. And in 12 months' time, if I don't like you, I'm walking and I'm not taking any kids with me."
While we're out Cecily's way, let's check out the local icon, Mount Walker.
So named for Walker, one of the first explorers to come through this country. It's a remainder from the Eromanga Sea, so all of this was underwater. You'll find that out when you go to Richmond, what the actual extent was. So it's just a last bit left over from when this was all covered with water a couple of million years ago.
Best time to drive up top is at sunset. A super sunset from Mount Walker as we prepare to move on to the next settlement east of here. Another town, another windmill. We're in the small settlement of Prairie, just to the east of Hughenden. Let's check out Prairie and a special Anzac Day ceremony led by the local school children. It's the genuine little town on the prairie, so named because of its prairie-like setting. Sweetness resides here, with a honey-producing homestead. While all manner of memorabilia line up outside one of the homes. There's even a water buffalo here. Buffy, the water buffalo, a friendly enough creature who's made pals with the owner of the Prairie pub, Tom Duffy. And there's Tom's wife, Andrea, greeting me outside the pub. You have done this for how long?
About 25 years, I guess, yeah.
Now that's a long time, because Prairie is not a big town.
No, it's not. Don't blink, you might miss it.
So what's the attraction?
The lifestyle. It's a great lifestyle. It's a great place to bring children up. Yeah. We have a beautiful little school here, and yeah, we just love the lifestyle.
Now the pub itself, that's been around a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, a lot longer than I have. We like to think ourselves of custodians. We're just here for a short time, just to keep an eye on it.
Wasn't always a pub. It was a Cobb and Co.
Cobb and Co stop originally, yeah. It was a horse change for the coaches and a traveller's rest, but she's been licensed now for over 125 years. So.
Inside, husband Tom is pouring the drinks. Tom, this is quite some hotel. It's filled with all sorts of memorabilia. You've been collecting it with Andrea, trying to make a point of difference?
We are a lover of unusual things here. There's lots and lots of different things hanging up here.
Hanging overhead, hats, bush hats, with a lot of character. 99 at last count, all donated by local farmers who wore the hell out of them. All around the walls, items of interest donated by locals over the past 25 years that Andrea and Tom have run this place together. Great talking pieces. Tell me about the buffalo up here.
Oh, I never planned to have a buffalo. It just happened. I was here, sitting here one Saturday, and a mate of mine walked in and said, yelled out, we had a few in the bar here that day too, and he yelled out to me, Tom, you want a buffalo? I said, yeah, I want 3 of them. I was only joking. And he went, no, seriously, I've got one for you, Tom. Do you want it? And I said, yeah, why not? All I had to do was go and pick it up.
Now, Buffy would have been on hand to watch Prairie's Anzac Day ceremony. There's a parade down the main street, led by school children riding horses.
What Anzac Day means to me is that we are remembering the soldiers who went to war to fight for us and died for our country and to give us more freedom.
Small town maybe, but the service here today has turned out the entire town. All organised by Prairie's school kids. Anzac Day in Prairie. Very special. Just south of Prairie, a delightful natural waterhole. We've travelled to the Kurarinya Falls Nature Reserve, where the caretakers, Kevin and Diane Shearman, love to show off this outback wonder of nature. Kevin, this gorge, absolutely gorgeous.
It is. We've gotten used to it out here, but yeah, it's lovely.
So in the middle of nowhere, here is this waterhole, here are these steep cliffs. You'd see the water gushing down here at times, would you not?
Oh yeah, a lot of times. Well, in the wet season mostly, but and you get mostly you notice is the noise, so it's quite rowdy when it's full flow. Yeah, it only happens probably 3 or 4 times a year, but it's quite special to us anyway.
So quite special then, but also quite special now, because we're watching this beautiful big lagoon, or what would you call it, a billabong down here.
Yeah, billabong, yeah, I would say billabong or lagoon, either.
And big cliffs around. I'm seeing some rocks falling there, rocks falling often.
Yes, erosion over the years, yeah.
Billabong below, another dammed waterway upstream. Kururunya Falls Nature Reserve. Great fishing here, along with camping and day facilities. One of the big secrets here in Flinders Shire, as we prepare to travel to a much more famous gorge. This is the star geographical feature here in Flinders Shire. Porcupine Gorge, gorgeous. You've got the Porcupine Creek flowing down below these cliffs, these steep cliffs of sandstone and basalt. Beautiful up here, even more so down there. It's been likened to Australia's mini Grand Canyon. Stretching almost 30 kilometres, the steep cliffs, narrow canyons and river flowing through it are an awesome spectacle. Every year it's considered such a sensational setting, they stage a marathon here, the Porcupine Gorge Challenge. 8 gruelling Ks from start to finish, all dwarfed by cliffs and sandstone ridges that are millions of years old. Today I'm exploring the Porcupine Gorge with a man who lives on Porcupine Creek, Jet Jones. Now these waters, of course, they start up in your backyard, Porcupine Creek. Flow all the way down here and then eventually, what, back out to the Gulf of Carpentaria?
Yeah, through the Flinders, they flow down into the Flinders River system and they do a big curve around and head back north and flow out near Normanton in the Flinders River.
So this is Sun Gorge. It's almost 30 kilometres long, 27 k's, and it has the sheerest rock faces, but all manner of rock forms here, basalt, sandstone.
Granite, and you see these collections of almost like cement-like sediment from the different rocks being crushed and turned in the sandstone, and it looks like someone's concreted a section but in a rough form. And my children, when they were studying school in geology, it's really good because so a lot of the hills around here are actually parts of craters, so you can actually go and see where the different rock forms are typed and how the basalt's different closer and inside the crater and outside the crater. So it's sort of like a geological textbook, really.
Upstream, Porcupine Creek runs through Mount Emu Station. This is where Jet Jones lives with his wife Kate and their 3 children. So this homestead that you're living in, quite a setup here. You've got the kitchen separated from the rest of the building. For what reason?
So on these old stations, quite often the kitchen was set up separate from the rest of the house. And one of the reasons is back then a lot of men would have been here and everyone would have eaten here in the kitchen. So you wanted to keep it separate from your house.
Among the plants growing here, loofahs, that vegetable that is highly sought after as a sponge.
So loofahs are actually like the sponge, you know, the bath sponge that you have in the bath that doesn't come from the ocean. Yeah, it comes from a cucumber vegetable that when it matures turns into a stringy sponge. The kids harvest them and they actually sell them at the markets here.
In such an isolated outpost, Kate homeschools the kids.
So my kids, I have chosen to homeschool them. A lot of the other bush families, they use distance ed, which is mostly done these days over the computer. For a number of reasons, I've just decided to go with actually home education, which means I set up the curriculum and choose what we want to do from day to day.
Jet and Kate are not only running a large cattle station, they're both highly creative, producing paintings and kids' books.
When Jack was born, there really wasn't anything around that was truly bush stuff. There was sort of the old McDonald's farmy type thing, which is not accurate of farm life or anything. And Katie actually said to me, "Can you write me a children's poem that I can do into a children's book?" I wrote a poem. I wrote it in using route because I know a lot of people that have dyslexia and that, and I know that's very helpful.
The kind of colours and everything I use are very appropriate for the landscape that we live in here. I don't think it would work up on the tablelands or anywhere else where it's nice and green and lush, but we don't live in a beautiful green, lush...
No, it has been greener here for the last couple of years, but her art really didn't take fold until we had children, until we started doing this, and she's by far doing her best art with these projects and now that she's ever done in her life.
But the big activity here on Mount Emu Station is handling several thousand cattle. And the big point of difference, the age of the drovers. It's Jet and Kate's kids, supervised by Jet.
We're big here on low stress stock handling, and it's a word that gets used and not necessarily practiced in a lot of places and by a lot of people. And there was a lot of these low stress stock handlers, schools, and these people that came over, and for me, you know, it's just the way my grandfather worked cattle.
After a very full day working the cattle and exploring Porcupine Gorge, Jet Jones lights up a campfire and lets rip with his guitar.
This is the song the hobble chain sang as the last drover hung up his reins. This is the tune of a Condamine ballad with the plant horses turned out to graze. And this is the clang that the cranky old cook on the side of the camp oven made, and the corned beef and damper that you had by the fire at the end of another long day.
Now to an incredibly impressive power generation source here in Flinders Shire. We're at the Kennedy Energy Park. There's 55,000 solar panels here and a big array of wind turbines up the hill. Stand beneath those massive wind turbines and you begin to appreciate the power being generated here. For starters, those turbine blades are extremely long. Just look at how long it takes me to walk from one end of the blades that's been grounded to the other. Striding with me today is Tony Ward, the Energy Park's Director of Land and Community. So, huge configuration, 3 of these things spinning, of course, and they get up to what sort of speed?
Ooh, well, it's got to reach 15 kilometres an hour before we can actually start generating energy.
Yep.
And then again, we need to be careful to about 95 kilometres an hour. They will decide themselves that it's too much wind.
Cut off.
And they'll cut down. One wind turbine can power a small outback town.
That is amazing. So you've got 12 turbines here. You could power 12 outback towns.
12 outback towns, just here. So we've been in the Flinders Shire area, Wind Lab, for over 10 years now. So we've really had an amazing amount of time, not only to establish ourselves as renewable energy, but also within the community as well.
So why Flinders Shire?
Flinders Shire, we've really realised that not only from obviously our wind farm here and the power generation that's available, but the area itself has amazing ability to supply this renewable generation that we're looking for. So not just KEP, where we stand today, Kennedy Energy Park, but also we're looking to expand our presence in the area. We're producing about 50 megawatts of power.
Yes.
So last year we announced the North Queensland Super Hub.
Super Hub, yep.
And so what we're planning to do as WindLab, by 2032, produce 20% of Australia's renewable energy.
So that's the wind turbines, but you've got a few solar panels as well.
Absolutely, not just a few. 55,332. In the Flinders Shire, what we've learned is that it's actually windier at night.
Yeah.
So therefore the solar complements that in terms of obviously its production during the daytime.
Fantastic. So turbines, solar panels, and you've got a third string in your bow down here.
We do. We've also got batteries.
So you're storing how much energy that you've generated?
So we're storing 4 megawatts of power here.
What's the
so
purpose?
really it's stabilising the network.
Okay.
So essentially we're able to produce 2 megawatts of power from here every 2 hours.
From the energy farm to a high energy festival. Stand by for the Festival of Outback Skies. We've already enjoyed the festival's opening night, the bull ride. Big crowds here, far, far bigger than expected.
Fantastic. Yeah, last night was just outstanding. We had actually planned for 500. Seating was purchased for about 500.
Yeah.
So we were scrambling for seating and around about 2,000.
That's a very elated mayor, Jane McNamara.
Okay, so the reasoning behind this was looking at other festivals so we could get something different to the other festivals, but we also didn't want to forget about our heritage, so hence the bull ride last night and the beef industry here in the Flinders Shire to showcase that.
Yeah.
But today and tomorrow is all about fun at the lake, our livability, our lifestyle and our beautiful skies. Look at these clouds today. I mean,
glorious.
Beautiful blue skies with these lovely white fluffy clouds. It's amazing.
Day 2 of Hughdenden's festival sees a series of raft races down on the town's recreational lake. First off, it's the kids, and what an assortment of craft they've put together. Out to the first buoy, they paddle furiously. There's big prize money for each paddler on the winning team. And here comes the first raft. They've called themselves the Cuzzy Crusaders. How are you going to celebrate?
Oh no, $200 each.
$200 each. Congratulations. Time then for the adults. Scott Murray is a local teacher who's dressed up as Dumbledore.
Why the get up? Well, I'm Dumbledore, and then we've got Harry with us, and we've also got Hagrid and Draco as well. And we thought we'd take the name Hughenden, make it Huey, and have a bit of a pun on Harry Potter.
And they're racing. But watch that raft closest to camera. That's a very, very wet start. And they never recovered. Out front though, it's all go. They all paddle for more than 5 minutes to reach the finish line. And isn't that our Dumbledore and his team out front? They're all teachers here, naming their team Huey Potter. For these teachers, it's a well-deserved win. You boys, how are you going to celebrate?
Some beers. Yeah, couple of beers. Got dinner tonight down here at the Outback Skies Festival, so it'll be great.
The dinner the team are referring to is a 4-course dinner under the stars. A band from Brisbane, Bradley McCaw and his buddies. Meals by moonlight. And a dance floor to let loose. Day 3 and we're checking out the sculpture contest. How's this? A giant kaleidoscope. A bush wreath made from objects our Mim Crace has found on her walks. And a tribute to all the windmills in this part of Australia. And here's the winning entry with prize money of $10,000 going to local artist Les Carter. What sort of theme have you got running through this?
The theme is the theme of Hughenden from the start with dinosaurs, and then we moved, with the dinosaur, and then we got the Aboriginal culture that we look after in our country and we look after in our area, and it recognises that. And then we move on to the country into our industry, like sheep and cattle industry. Yeah. And what was the big stepping stone for Hughenden, especially with the tree, with the settlers first coming in 1863.
So the story of Hughenden in one piece of art.
Exactly, yes. You can say the pillars of Hughenden from the start, and not to the finish. We still got a lot more to go. We've got a lot of things happening in our area. So.
Over in Hughdenden's showground, there's a celebrity cook-off. Barbecuing here today is local parliamentary member Robbie Cantor, competing against council CEO Harry Bapudi.
Try some of these. You'll be able to track them down in all the different
Judges are selected from the audience. And the winner is the council CEO. Close by, visitors can turn their hands to craft. Amongst the workshops, how to create a stained glass masterpiece. The painting classes are conducted by none other than Kate Jones, who we met out at Mount Emu Station. And finally, the lantern makers. How appropriate, because they'll be put to good use in the festival climax shortly. Well, now for the finale of this great festival of the Outback Skies, a lantern parade here on the lake.
So we had all the elements, we had the bits together, people glued them and then decorated them. So you can just see everybody got the same starting stuff, but you can just see the variety of creativity that we have here. So pretty cool. I'm very impressed with what people have done.
So they've made the lanterns, now they're lighting them up. What are you looking forward to with this parade?
Oh, just seeing everyone's designs and seeing them all go off on the water.
Seeing everyone involved, it's great. To see how many people have come together, it's good.
Yeah.
As day slowly fades to night in that glorious twilight time, the lantern parade begins. From one end of the lake to the other, a spectacle of illumination, with a quartet adding music to this magical evening. The organisers go on to release still more illuminated lanterns onto the lake, hundreds of them. Perfect winds this evening as the lanterns are blown straight back towards the crowds. A fitting end to this festival of Outback Skies and our time in Flinders Shire.